Good afternoon, beautiful humans. Most of you know me as the sound sorcerer. You know my obsession with sound, moving sound through the body, with using the voice for health, tuning ourselves for health, for a better life, to not only express clearer and deeper, but there's a massive benefit that I have been listening to research all this afternoon, and I really want to share it with you because it is the hot topic. COVID is the hot topic of the century. So I took some notes here because this is such fascinating stuff. So as you know, I'm obsessed with moving sound through the body. I love to encourage people to hum for their health. Now, there's science behind all this, and one of the leading molecules that happens when we hum for health is nitric oxide. Now, since last year, there's been studies done. This is really interesting. There was at least 15 studies done last year, so there's going to be more happening now. We're talking about in universities and offices around America, multiple cities, a massive one in Massachusetts that they were particularly talking about. I'm going to discuss a little bit about this, as well as India. Many countries are starting to take this on, and it's really exciting because whenever we do these health studies, they want to develop the new drug that's going to help us have the health we want, have the life we want, have the body we want. What's exciting about this study is they are testing nitric oxide. So nitric oxide, not to be confused with nitrous oxide, it's not the laughing gas. Nitric oxide is released when we hum, when we make sound. It stimulates the vagus nerve, which is the longest cranial nerve that goes through and touches all the other organs in our body. So, when we hum, stop and do it right now because it's good for you, and I'm going to tell you how. So take a big breath in and just feel that vibration moving through your body, feel the activation, because that is releasing nitric oxide. Now, they've been testing it on COVID patients. There's a bunch of studies done. Not only has it rapid sustained improvement of lung function, decreased inflammation, it actually inhibits the COVID infection. It stops the virus from attaching to the spike protein. Like, get that again. Nitric oxide, which is what's released when we hum, stops the virus from attaching to the spike protein. It is one of the most super molecules of our body. And in the studies they're doing, none of the studies, they're using sprays, ointments to create nitric oxide. And of course, these chemicals, or however the processes they're using to create synthetic nitric oxide, it only has a certain shelf life, or it only lasts a certain amount of time. But when we actually create it in our body, not only are we doing it, like they're only having like 100 parts per million or something when they create it. When we create it ourselves in our body, we are doing like 250 parts per million. So doing it ourselves is at least double or more effective, increasing more nitric oxide than if they were to bring these studies out, or bring their research out and start using it as a mainstream, as an ointment or a spray. So they are actually testing this on patients now who have mild to medium COVID, and it's decreasing their inflammation. It's stopping the virus from replicating massively. Like, it just stops it. It's not just decreasing it, it's starting to stop it. Slows the viral RNA production. 99.9% they say reduction of it with no toxic impact and no impairment of the body. This is huge. One of the greatest gifts that I and many of us see that COVID is bringing to the world is we have what we focus on, we gravitate towards. And in humanity, we have a tendency to focus on the horror or what we want to move away from. We have a tendency to focus on the fear. And of course, the more we're going to focus on what we don't want, the more we're actually vibrating, magnetizing, and moving towards that in our reality. We're trying not to get sick. But we're still, all our mind and our subconscious hears is the word sick. So what's really exciting for me in listening to all these studies, and if you're interested in hearing some of these, just chuck a yes please in the comments and I'll send you a few links. And if you are interested in going deep and learning how to do some of these techniques, I'm running my voice dance course that's starting in a week. You can come every week, you can dance, you can embody. We are learning different vocal tools each week which help you sing, which help you express, and this time when I'm running it, we're amping up our ability, the tools and tricks that we're using to regulate and elevate our nervous system. We're using way more tools to release nitric oxide in our body naturally. And some people dropping some links there. It's super exciting because we're taught in this world to look outside ourselves for answers. But now we are faced with something in humanity that we've never been faced before, not to this degree in our lifetimes. And what is coming up is that nothing is more powerful than the medicine that we can access within ourselves. And if we start to prioritize that as a culture, as a society, to make it the most important thing, so we're not just trying to get an ointment and a cream, that we're learning to do breath work, we're learning to listen to our body when we're dysregulated. We're learning to stimulate our nervous system to regulate what's going on and how to elevate our state. And we're learning to make this a priority daily. We're learning that when we hum, and when we hum, like, let me give you a little tip too. They've actually found that the lower we hum, the more nitric oxide we release. One of the things I'm going to talk about in the course is the pitch. As when we think about manifesting, for example, when we manifest at a high pitch, when we hum at a high pitch, the vibration when we're at a high pitch is going faster, the frequency is moving quicker. So when we want to manifest things in our life and we want them to happen quicker, then it makes sense that we're using high frequencies to manifest things quickly, and the low frequencies are actually there to help us tap into our health and wealth on a deeper level. So we're looking about long-term sustainable stuff. Do you have any questions? Because I wanted to jump on here and bring this to you all because this is very, very exciting. Not a lot of people realize, like, you know, it feels good to just take that breath in. So most of you probably know, and for those who want a little reminder, when we put more emphasis on our in-breath and make that bigger, we are able to activate our system and kick in more of like the sympathetic nervous system, which is more of that fight or flight. So it gets us a bit G'd up, right? When we want to regulate and calm down, so our parasympathetic nervous system, think of like a parachute. When we want to calm down, then we put more of an emphasis on the out breath, so we make it longer. We make it longer than the in-breath. You can do things like breathe in for 6, hold for 4, and out for 8 or 12. You can do things like that if you want to count. But just breathe in like a quickish breath, and then and really take your time with it. Really feel into the body. Where are you tense? And as if you're pouring out the last bits from a jar, and you're just trying to get every bit of tension is the last bits that need to come out. Breathing in again, so quicker in-breath. Let's add the sound to it too. And as if the sound is accessing those parts of you that really need to let go or really need to speak. So there might be parts of you that have been a bit tense today, or any emotion in there. Could be frustration, could be joy. We might just want to feel ecstatic about something and let it go, because again, we're in a society where we're taught very much about conforming, taught to look outside ourselves for answers. So here we are at a time in history where never before we have come to something that's actually showing us that if we do not start looking inside for answers and following that authority and learning to listen to our body, learning to listen to our own nervous system, and learning to feel that vibration. Now that crackle that I get, it makes my sound, if I measure it, drop in hertz. And they've proven that the lower the sound, the more nitric oxide is released. I never knew for a long time. I could feel that when I created that crackle that it was actually burning up the energy I was transforming transmogrifying the energy faster. Now, as the research comes out, there's proof, yes, it is actually doing something more profound. And now there is research all around the world, studies happening at many, many universities where they're actually testing this on COVID patients. They're testing nitric oxide, and they're finding that even though it is stopping the virus from attaching to the spike protein, when nitric oxide is released in the body, it stops it proliferating, and it decreases inflammation. It goes through the body, because what nitric oxide does, it opens all the blood vessels and capillary in our nose, in our lungs, in every part of our body. So it also, when we hum and we breathe out, we're stimulating the longest nerve in our body, the vagus nerve, which connects to all our other organs, and helps us to, we're talking about boosting our immune system. Yep. It does this. Science has found that when and this is why we're talking about vagal tone, which we inherit from our parents, our mothers, our vagal tone. If our parents have been through a lot of trauma, we're inheriting a low vagal tone, so we need to build that up, just like any muscle in our body, if you think about it. Being aware, vagal aware of our nervous system, being aware of this in my teachings is one of the things I want to bring to people more, because a lot of us don't realize that we can be doing things every single day. And the biggest part that we are exploring in voice dance, so the course coming up again, which is even more packed full of information, self-healing tools. If you want in, just give me a yes in the comments. Tell me that you're interested. There is an early bird still just available, a couple of spaces left, and I want to dive in with you. People who did it last year had so many benefits in their life, and now I'm bringing even more to the table, because I really, really believe this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm passionate about. What changed in my life was when I began to sing through my body. Not only did it change in the way that my voice sounded to the world and felt when I sung, and then that increased to how I speak when I'm live, for example, the passion, the way I can back myself. I started this live a little bit sort of timid and energetically. Now my passion's there. I'm feeling the stream of energy flow through. We learn about channel, tapping into channel, connecting to the universe, being able to follow through with what's true for you. And when we are able to vibrate our truth, our essence, people feel that. That's what becomes magnetic. So this is good for our health. I'd love to see if there's any questions, by the way. Super exciting. Always coming back to the breath. I love it. Breath, yes. And adding the sound. So anything we do with the breath, when we add the sound to that, that's amplified. It's not just like breath does this amazing thing, then you add the sound to it, it's even more powerful. And the breath is a direct doorway straight into the self, straight home. So we learn about, when we breathe in, how we're receiving, right? This is how we take in the world. When we're holding, it's our capacity to hold that space. When we're breathing out, and giving that sound and that tone, that's our expression, yeah? That's how we give to the world. And then that emptiness at the end, before we breathe in again, it shows our ability to be at one with the nothingness, to not know what's coming next. And sometimes this can be the part that's the hardest for people, when we're in that rush, go, and needing to know. So each part of the breath can show us the way home, how to heal ourselves, and then we add that sound in to amplify how we can access that conversation with our own body. Not only does it help me with my voice and how I sound and how I feel when I connect to the world, not only did it help with my presence when I show up in my business, in my relationships, in my conversations, but it's helping with my health. And this is a big thing, because when we don't have our health, we don't have anything. Our health is everything, and that is what is under threat now more than ever. So I want to come on here and say to you, you have so much power within you. We have so much power within us. I'm so passionate about this, I want to cry. If one gift can happen from this pandemic that is happening in this world right now, that gift is recognizing the power within us. The true wealth within us. Take a deep breath in with me. Hold your body where you want to be held, and just hum out your greatest joy right now, your wish for the world, for yourself, for your life. Let's join in collective prayer of vibration. When our nervous system is freaking out, it can just be because you're hungry and it's not getting food and it starts to stress. Or it can be the stress of life and work and the pressure of deadlines. It can be stuck in traffic. And it can be something so simple that we know we shouldn't get stressed about, but because our vagal tone is weak or because we've suffered trauma in the past, we go straight into this reflex. And this is what I'm most interested in teaching people about in this next round, is how to rewire our nervous system's response to pain into pleasure. How do we actually reteach our system what we really not only are capable of, but deserve, because it is our truth. When our nervous system shuts down, that little lizard part, the most ancient part at the back of the brain, basal ganglia, it shuts down the front part of our brain where we make conscious choice. It shuts down the parts of our brain that think. Just like when we get up to public speak, or I remember being 8 in my first piano concert and I go to play the piano and suddenly I can't even recognize all the keys because my brain's going, oh, shit, I'm going to die. Everyone's watching me, I'm going to die. The body says, I need to protect myself. Shut down anything that could get in the way of that. And that includes our digestion. Our digestion gets shut down. So if you have noticed you're in chronic stress and you're having trouble with your eating, your nutrition, there could be a link here, and there most probably is. A lot of the chronic illnesses and suffering that people are having is actually quite easily addressed with learning how to regulate and elevate our nervous system. So I love you all so much. Please remember the power of your own body. Please remember the wealth of your own health. Look after yourselves and each other. Pass this message on. And if you want to work with me deeper, reach out. We got this. We're doing this together. I love you. Have a most beautiful weekend.